Hey there guys, Joseph Willis here, and welcome to the second episode of my 1996 ToCA 2 Touring Cars Career Mode. And as you saw there, I had a slide going into turn 1, and we are back this time at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit for rounds 3 and 4 of the championship. Last time out was at the Grand Prix circuit of Darlington, where we had an okay day. We managed to score points in race 2, but we're hoping to continue that here at Brands Hatch. And it is a short circuit, it is a sub-minute lap around here, and well, anything could really happen here. Very quick track, plenty of overtaking opportunities, and yeah, looking forward to it. But as you can see, we're about to cross the line now, just to show you how short the lap is. We crossed the line, and let's have a look at the grid for race 1 here at Brands Hatch. So here is the grid then for today's race, race 1 here at Brands Hatch, Indy. And as you can see on the front row of the grid, it is Gary Ailes who takes his first pole position of the season in the Nissan Primera, with John Clennon starting alongside him on the front row. A very good qualifying session from the Scotsman. Then it is championship leader Ricardo Rydell in third, with Owen Macaulay in 4th position. The two Renaults lock out row 3 with Alain Menu 5th and Will Hoy in 6th position. We qualify an impressive 7th place. I was really impressed by that. Patrick Watt starts alongside us in 8th in the Peugeot. David Leslie starts in 9th with John Bincliffe, an impressive 10th. Kelvin Burt will start 11th with Frank Bieler in 12th position. 13th will be Paul Radicic, my teammate. Alongside him is Tim Harvey in the Peugeot. And on the back row of the grid, it's the two Jameses. James Kay is in 15th and James Thompson and the Vauxhall Vetra starts in 16th position. So that is the grid for race 1 here at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. So without further ado, let's get to the first race of the day. So here we are then, here for race 1, here at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. We're in 7th place behind the two Renaults. We wait for the lights to go out, the red lights are on, and they turn green, and we are underway for the first race here at Brands Hatch Indy. We get a decent start, but not a brilliant one, because the two Renaults start to get away from us as we head down in towards turn 1 on the track, trying to take it cautiously still. But as you can see, it wasn't really a good start, as Patrick Watts and I believe that's David Leslie has gone by me, and now I'm down to 10th, trying to find a way back past on David Leslie. Make some slight contact with him there, make him sideways. We back off just to make sure we don't gain a place from that. As a result, I don't want to be gaining places because I've taken somebody out. But not a good start from us. We're in 9th place now then, as we go up towards the quick left-right chicane. For some reason the AI decided to break through here, although you can lift through there. It's a lot quicker than what the AI are taking it, as we rub the backside there of David Leslie, trying to find a way through on him there. He was essentially parking the bus as we went through into that corner, as we now go down the start straight, trying to get into the slipstream of the Honda Accord, as we now complete lap 1 of 20 here. We're now on lap 2 of the race. It would be 38 laps, but because the maximum laps you can do on ToCA 2 on the PC version, that is in 20 laps, it had to be 20. So it's going to be possibly a shorter episode, but we'll have to wait and see. You see in front there, David Leslie finds a way by on, I believe, Patrick Watts in front of him in the Peugeot, and it is Patrick Watts. So now the next target will be Patrick Watts instead of David Leslie, because David Leslie finds a way past on Patrick Watts there in towards turn 2 as we head up towards the left-right chicane. Again, Watts breaks early. We're going to swoop around the outside and we move up into P8, and now we're back behind David Leslie yet again as we now come down the straight, trying to get back into the slipstream of David Leslie, and seeing if we can try and get back that 7th place we lost at the start of the race after we qualified there in the one-shot qualifying session from the previous day. As we head through in towards turn 1 there, the car trying to get a little bit snappy. It is very easy to lose the car going down the hill there, as well, the car likes to drop out on you as it's the downhill section, and well, that's pretty much that really. As we go swooping around the left-hander now then, and now we head towards the chicane again through the left and right-hander we go now then, breaking towards this right-hander, and we've lost the back end. We've lost the back end through into that corner, and it looks like Watts has hit the side of us there, but he managed to get through easily, and we dropped down to 11th place. What a shame. We just took way too much speed, caught the bump on the middle of that corner, and we've dropped down into P11. What a shame. And now we're on the back of Frank Bieler as a result, with our teammate Paul Radicic right behind us now, but we are now 1 place outside the top 10 as a result. Again, trying to make sure that I don't lose the back end going out of turn 1 there as we break towards turn 2, as I get a little bit of oversteer there as a result. I had to try and correct it, but all of that has allowed my teammate Paul Radicic to get in front, and we're now down to 12. What a disaster. After qualifying in 7th place, we're now down outside in the points positions, so it pretty much proves we possibly only had qualifying pace and not in the race. But we swoop around the outside of Paul Radicic, because again the AI do like to break through there, and we get up into P11, and now we're back behind the bumper of Frank Biela. We're already getting into the slipstream with the Audi driver. Are we able to try and see if we can try and challenge him down in towards turn 1? We get into the slipstream. We think about having a look down in towards turn 1, but Biela breaks that a little bit later than us and keeps hold of 10th place. Meanwhile, in front looks like Kelvin Burt and Patrick Watts are fighting it out for P8. Burt unable to find a way past Watts that time. Look like Watts shut the door on him there through to turn 2. Meantime, we're still trying to chase down the Audi of Frank Biela. They also like to break through that left-hander for some odd reason. We don't. We're going to go flat out. We're going to go side by side with him in towards his left-right chicane, and we get back into the points. We're up into 10th place, and now we're behind the battling Burt and Watts as a result, as we'll soon be starting lap 6 of the race. And because it is a short track, anything can happen within consecutive laps. A lot of action goes off here, and that's why there hasn't been a jump cut yet during this video so far. But we're back behind Patrick Watts, because as you can see, Calvin Burt has finally managed to find a way through on the Peugeot driver and gets up a day place. We lose the back end through towards turn 1 there, being a little bit too aggressive on the curb, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get by there. Yes, but it's not Frank Biela that got by us. It was in fact Paul Radicic, and that looks to be James Kay in the Honda, who qualified all the way down in 15th. So James Kay making it through the field quite nicely. In fact, James Thompson is as well. He's got up into 13th after qualifying last in the qualifying session the previous day. As you can see, Paul Radicic again braking quite early. We're just going to slip through that little gap and get up into P11, and now we're trying to chase down James Kay to get ourselves back into the points paying position. We're getting into the slipstream now off the Honda Accord driver as we go down the start straight now then towards turn 1, and James Kay's just too far in front of us to try and get that place off the Honda Accord driver. But now we're going to be skipping all the way to lap 10, the halfway point of the race. We still wasn't able to find a way past James Kay, but as you can see, Kay is being held up by the Peugeot of Patrick Watts, and we're going to see if we can try and take advantage of this as we get into the slipstream of the Honda driver now. Then we're going to look to the outside because there's no room on the inside, and it looks like in fact Kay's going to try and break that a little bit later than Watts. Watts and Kay make a little bit of contact. Watts defending the place for now as they both battle for P9. We're just watching on with a bit of popcorn in our hands, trying to see if we could pounce upon any mistake. Kay again unable to find a way by Watts, and now we're back behind him again. He breaks there. We're going to find a gap around the outside. Can we try and get him around the outside in towards the chicane to get ourselves back into the points? We go around the left-hander, and we do so. Back up into 10th place we go. Can we try and get Patrick Watts into this corner as well? We've taken 2 places in the space of a couple of corners, and we're up into 9th place. Some brilliant moves there from ourselves there as we get up into P9 as we are about to start lap 12 of 20 here. But now we're skipping all the way towards the back end of the race of lap 18 of 20 now. Then we're still in 9th. We're a long way behind the Volvo driver of Kelvin Burt, who's 11 seconds up the road, as now we go up towards the left-hander now then, and we lose the back end, and we've had a huge collision with one of the, the arrow barrier, as I like to call it. And it looks like we sustained some damage on the right hand side, and again we're outside the points. We drop down to 13th behind the Vauxhall of James Thompson. What a shame, and well, that's unfortunate really, and well, we're down to 13th as a result, and it looks like we may not be scoring any points unless we can get our foot down in these remaining 2 laps. And as you can see, as we come down towards turn 1, you'll see coming around the outside, that is the race leader, Gary Ailes. We have been lapped by Gary Ailes, but luckily ToCA 2 for some reason doesn't have the option, well, doesn't have the feature enabled where if you're lapped you can't complete the final lap. Luckily, once the leader finishes the final lap, you don't automatically finish the race, you just go around again and complete the final lap, and that gives us an opportunity to try and get James Thompson on the final lap of the race. Are we able to out-drag him down the start-finish straight? No, we can't. We only could manage 13. We weren't able to get 12, but still disappointing nonetheless, as we could have had points in this race today. But there you have it. At the end of that, here was the results of race 1 then. Gary Ailes takes his first win of the season, making it 3 different winners in 3 races, with John Clellan an impressive second. Rickard Rydell is in 3rd, with Alain Menu 4th, Owen McCauley was 5th, Will Hoy 6th, David Leslie 7th, Kelvin Burt managed 8th in the Volvo. And if we scroll to the next page, Patrick Watts gets Peugeot's first points of the season in 9th, with James Kane rounding out the points in 10th. Then it was Paul Radicic 11th, James Thompson 12th, myself 13th, should have been points today, Frank Biela 14th, Tim Harvey 15th, and John Bincliffe in 16th position. And as a result, this is what the Drivers' Championship looks like. Rickard Rydell increases his lead at the top. He's now 6 points in front of Owen McCauley, with Gary Ailes, thanks to his victory, moving up to 3rd, 2 points behind his teammate Owen McCauley. Alain Menu is 4th, John Clellan 5th in the Vauxhall, moving up to 5th thanks to his impressive 2nd place. Will Hoy 6th, David Leslie 7th, with teammate James Kay 10 points behind him in 8th. And if we go on to the next page, Kelvin Burt 9th, James Thompson 10th, we are in 11th. Paul Radicic, our teammate, is 12th. 3 drivers tied on 3 points. Patrick Watts getting his first points on the board in 13th. And the drivers still yet to score points are Tim Harvey and the 2 Audis of Frank Bieler and John Bincliffe. As a result, in the team's championship, Rouse Sport increased their lead at the top. They are now 14 points ahead of Williams Renault, with Volvo in 3rd. Vauxhall Sport moves back up to 4th. Honda dropped down to 5th. Ford are in 6th place, with Total Team Peugeot 7th, and Audi still to get off the point scoring board in 8th. In the Manufacturers Championship, Volvo still lead it by 7 points ahead of Renault. Vauxhall moved back up to 3rd, with Honda 4th. Ford are in 5th, Peugeot are 6th, and Audi still yet to score in 7th place. So, without further ado, let's move on to race 2. So here we are then here for the qualifying session for race 2 here at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. In a cloudy day, of course, like it was in race 1. Now, I need to tell a couple of things as I lose the back end into turn 1 there, and, well, that's my qualifying laps wrecked. But, as I was about to say, the laps that I set for these tracks, now, I can't set them to the actual laps that it was in the British Touring Car Championship, mainly because on ToCA 2, unless you have the PS1 version, this is the PC version, I can only get it up to 20 laps, and I can't even get the laps for the Torrington Park GP, which is 18 laps, because I can't have any laps between 15 and 20. The laps I can choose from is either 1 lap, 2 laps, 3 laps, 5 laps, 10 laps, 15 laps and 20 laps. I can't go in between either of them. So yeah, I try and get close to them. But as you can see, we have finished our qualifying laps. Let's look at the grid for race 2. So here is the grid then for race 2 here at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, the final race of today's action here at Brands Hatch. And as you can see on pole position, it's the Honda Accord of David Leslie getting Honda's first pole position of the season, with Owen McCauley in the independent Nissan in 2nd. John Clellan is in 3rd, continuing his great weekend, with Alain Menu in 4th position. John Bincliffe is an impressive 5th in the Audi, with Gary Ailes in 6th position. Championship leader Ricardo Adel all the way down in 7th, with Will Hoy in 8th position. The 2 Peugeots lock out row 5 with Tim Harvey 9th and Patrick Watts in 10th, a brilliant qualifying for the French outlets. Kelvin Burt is in 11th with James Thompson in 12th position. Paul Radicic, our teammate, is in 13th with Frank Bieler in 14th position, and on the back row of the grid it's James Kay and ourselves because of that mistake we made at the exit of turn 1. So there is the grid then for race 2 here at Brands Hatch Indy. So without further ado, let's get to round 4 of this season's championship. So here we are then here for race 2 here at Brands Hatch. And, well, we've got 20 laps of action, the final race of the day here at Brands. The red lights are on, and they turn green, and we're underway here for race 2, and it doesn't seem like we've got a good start. Looks like James Kay in front of us is starting to get away slightly, but we're going to try and take it cautiously down towards turn 1 and let the others mingle towards themselves, see if there's any mistakes that are going to go on as he heading towards turn 1. Out the corner we go, and it looks like one of the Vauxhalls has got loose. It looks like it's James Thompson that's lost it as we go up towards turn 2. A lot of locking up. We go diving down the inside, and we take 14 because we've also overtaken the Audi of, I believe, Frank Bieler as well. So we gain 2 places there, so now trying to find a way by on Paul Radicic, our teammate. We clip the back of him there, back up a little bit to avoid spinning him off. As we now go up towards the quick chicane, we swoop around the outside and we get 13 from him as a result. As we're now onto the back of the battling James Kay and Patrick Watts now then. Through the right hander we go. We're going to try and swoop around the outside of the Honda Accord and also try and get Patrick Watts at the same time. As we go side by side when we go up into 12, side by side we go with Patrick Watts as we start lap 2 of 20 now then. Down the hill towards turn 1 we go as Burt and Harvey in front are battling amongst themselves through towards turn 1. We leave enough room to see if there's anybody on the side, and they were still there with me, the other 2, and we drop back down to 13th place yet again. So yet again we are behind James Kay and Patrick Watts with our teammate Paul Radicic right behind us. Through towards turn 3 we go, trying to get back onto them as best as we can now then. Up towards the quick left-right chicane, then we go through the left-hander and we clip the back of Kay and we spun him around. Kay has broke tested us, and we just pretty much a passenger in terms of spinning him around there. So I feel a little bit guilty taking 12th place there, but I'm not going to slow down for him because he's down at the back of the pack. And I don't want to be towards the back of the pack and losing time to the rest of the pack as we now go side by side with Patrick Watts. Can we try and grab 11th off him in towards turn 1? Unable to do so. Patrick Watts just breaks that a little bit later and gets back in front of us now. And as we head up towards turn 2 on the track, He brakes early, we brake late, but he gets so much traction out of turn 2, and we lose a little bit of time with him as we go down the hill through turn 3, trying to keep up with Patrick Watts as best as we can now then, and also at the same time trying to keep up with his teammate Tim Harvey, who seems to have lost the place from Kelvin Burt a little earlier. We swoop around the outside there, Patrick Watts, as he breaks through into there, and we get up into 11th place. We're 1 place away from the points, and now we find ourselves in a Peugeot sandwich with Tim Harvey in front, and that will be for a points playing position as a result as we go down the start straight, heading down towards turn 1 on the track now then. Can we try and get Tim Harvey for 10th place now then? Through turn 1 we go, going a little bit wide, possibly going a little bit too deep, and as a result Patrick Watts takes full advantage, gets a lot more traction, and gets back up into 11th place. So again we drop down to 12th, and again we are behind both Peugeots now, and well, we need to work hard to see if we can get those positions back. It was going swooping around the left-hander now, then up towards the quick left-right chicane now. Then can we try and get Patrick Watts back? He breaks through into there. We're going to try and squeeze in if we can. Can we try and grab back 11th place? And we spun around Patrick Watts. That's the second person we spun around. That was quite awkward there, I have to say, going through the final corner there. So I'm not sure if you blame me or Watts for not giving me space there. It's kind of a 50-50 situation there. We're going to take a look at the replay at those two incidents that have happened. The first one with James K. As you can see, up towards the chicane, he just brake tests me there, and I just had nowhere to go and had no choice but to spinning round. And well, I don't really know what to say about that really, but here comes the second one, which is quite an awkward one with Patrick Watts now then as we head up towards the chicane. And as you can see, he breaks early there. We find a little bit of a gap on the inside, try and do a little bit of a Jason Plato or Matt Neal there, finding a gap small enough, and then it just got kind of awkward. It was kind of like Patrick Watts sort of bottlenecked us in towards the last corner, and we pretty much had no choice but to spin him off. So that's twice now we've overtook via a spin, and I don't really want to do that again. Meantime now then, we're now onto the back of Tim Harvey for 10th place. We're hoping to try and get into the points as best we can. On the previous lap, it wasn't seen. We actually set the fastest lap of the race, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody has taken it off from us as a result. As we head down towards turn 1, we go side by side with Harvey. Can we get 10th place? No, we can't. Harvey just shuts the door on us there out of turn 1, and we just have to slot behind as a result. As we head up towards turn 2 now, then we clip the curb a little bit too much there, and the car ends up going flying a little bit there. And well, we lost a little bit of time to Tim Harvey, but we do remember that these corners, the AI are quite slow, so we're hoping to try and take advantage of that if we can, as we go swooping around the left-hander. And as you can see, we're getting a lot of time there on Tim Harvey. Can we try and see if we can get enough traction? We get a little bit too eager on the power, and we lose it on the bump, and we lose a place as a result to Paul Radisich there. So a costly little error there from ourselves, and we drop down to 12th place behind our teammate. And we've got to try and get him now before we can get on to Tim Harvey again if we want to score points and capitalise, well, pretty much recover from what happened in race 1, because that was a disappointment. But meantime, we skip now onto lap 12 of the race, and we're losing a little bit of time now to Paul Radisich as a result. Radisich seems to have some better pace, so we might not have the pace for points as we lose it a little bit more, and we lose it for the second time of the weekend at that chicane, and we drop down to 15th place behind James K, who we spun around a little earlier on, so in a sense he could say that's karma. And now we go around the right-hander, and this is probably one of the stupidest things I've ever done. I just smashed into the pit wall there. I was pretty much not concentrating at that point because something was distracting me while I was recording this. And well, we drop a place now to Patrick Watts. So for both Patrick and James, they could both say karma after what happened to them after I spun them around a little earlier on in the race. But that has dropped us now to 16th and last. So we try and catch back up now to Patrick Watts and see if we can try and get 15th back off the Peugeot driver now. Then as we head down through turn 3 now, then flat out as we go, as we'll now go up towards the quick left-right chicane now then. And remember, the AI are quite slow through here, and we take full advantage. We're closing back up now onto Patrick Watts, get a lot more traction than what the Peugeot driver does, and a lot more speed out the corner. We're getting into the slipstream now of Watts. Are we able to try and get him in towards turn 1 perhaps as we go side by side with him? Are we able to get past him, unlike what we did with Tim Harvey a little earlier on? Through in towards turn 1 we go, and he turns into me, and he spins again by making contact with me again. That time around, I'm not blaming myself for that. That was 100% Watts' fault. He knew I was on the inside, and he just decided to turn into me like I was not there, or if I was going to back out of it. There was no way I was going to back out of that one. That is 100% Patrick Watts' fault. Here was a replay then of the incident itself. So as you can see, we get the slipstream on in there. We go to the inside of him, And you can clearly see I'm on the inside of him there. And, well, Watts expects me to back out of that one, and as a result, he pays the price. I'm not blaming myself for that one. That is 100% Watts' fault. So that's kind of a shame, really, that the AI don't seem to notice you that well. But we're now onto the final lap of the race, and unfortunately, we just didn't have the pace to catch back up to James K. So unfortunately, it's going to be a terrible weekend for us. We're going to be finishing in second to last, 15th place. And, well, 2 chances for points here today, all gone down the toilet because of some stupid errors I made. And, well, I'm just so angry that I just didn't get points in this race whatsoever. I had the pace for points, but sadly, it did not come to fruition. But anyway, despite that, here is the results of race 2 then. And as you can see, David Leslie won the race, getting Honda's first win of the season, making it 4 different winners in 4 races, with Owen McCauley in second, Alain Menu was third, John Clennon was fourth, Gary Ailes fifth, Rickard Riddell was sixth, John Bincliffe gets Audi's first points of the season in 7th, with Will Hoy in 8th position in the end there then. And if we go on to the next page, it's Kelvin Burt 9th, with Tim Harvey getting his first points of the season and adding more points to Watts' points tally in the previous race by getting the final point in 10th. Paul Radicic was 11th, Fran Bieler 12th, James Thompson 13th, James K 14th, we come across the line at a disappointing 15th, and Patrick Watts was 16th in the end there then. And as a result, in the Drivers' Championship, as you can see, thanks to his second place, Owen McCauley retakes the lead in the Drivers' Championship. He's now 1 point ahead of Rickard Riddell after what has been a disappointing race for Riddell. Alain Menu moves up to 3rd, Gary Ailes drops down to 4th, David Leslie lifts up to 5th thanks to his victory, John Clennon is 6th, Will Hoy 7th, Kelvin Burt in 8th position. And if we go on to the next page, John Bincliffe lifts up to 9th with James K tied with him in 10th. And then again, 3 drivers on 3 points. James Thompson is 11th, we are 12th, Paul Radicic, our teammate, is 13th, Patrick Watts 14th with 2 points, Tim Harvey getting off the points in 15th, with Frank Bieler still to score points in 16th position. In the Teams Championship, Rouse Sport increased their lead. They're now 19 points in front of Williams Renault. Volvo are in 3rd. Honda moved back up to 4th thanks to David Leslie's victory. Vauxhall Sport are in 5th. Valvoline Team Mondeo are still in 6th. Audi Sport UK move up to 7th, with Turtle Team Peugeot dropping down to 8th position. And in the Manufacturers Championship, Renault cut the gap to Volvo in the Manufacturers. They're now 2 points behind the Swiss car company. Honda moved back up to 3rd thanks to Leslie's victory, but they are tied with Vauxhall. They're in front of Vauxhall because obviously Honda have a victory and Vauxhall don't. Ford are still in 5th, Audi are close behind them in 6th, and Peugeot are in 7th on 3 points. But guys, that has been it then for this episode of my 1996 ToCA 2 Touring Car Career Mode. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been a disappointing weekend for me, but quite an entertaining one as well, and I hope you've enjoyed it nonetheless. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. The next episode will come to you at the fastest circuit in the UK, that of course being Thruxton, for rounds 5 and 6 in the championship. But until then, I've been Joseph Willows, and I'll see you guys next time. Till then, take care.